Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Catrice Miller, and I thank you so much for joining my live presentation today. Today, we are going to talk about the three non-negotiables that Black women must lock in 2026. But first, let me introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. My name is Catrice Miller, and I'm an executive career and leadership coach, as well as a nationally recognized labor and employee relations leader. I have over 30 years of experience in the industry, and I've had the great fortune and privilege of working with, partnering with, and consulting with Fortune 500 companies to promote leaders, to advance leaders, and also advance leadership across their industry. Now, that's the official bio, the one that you'll find on LinkedIn, the one that my resume may resonate. But let's also talk about who Catrice Miller is in this presentation. I am a Black woman in America, specifically a Black woman in corporate America. I'm a Black woman who has faced discrimination. I've suffered layoffs. I've dealt with downsizing. I've dealt with government shutdowns. I've also learned how to navigate and be in spaces where there are people who do not look like me. I have been in rooms where there have been primarily been led by white men, especially in the legal industry. I was a single mother when my children were growing up, and I also was a paralegal who had to work full-time to go to law school as well, to educate myself, advance myself, and be able to become an attorney while also navigating a full-time job and raising two kids. I raised two amazing young men, successful, happy, productive, but I also suffered tragedy when one of my children was tragically killed in 2022. Now, that's everything you don't see on my resume, everything you don't see on my LinkedIn profile. But what does that also tell you about me? I have learned how to be a powerful woman, how to be a resilient woman, how to have self-belief, and how to have faith in God, and how to empower myself. And I believe my story, although my story may not be your specific story, I believe my story may resonate with so many of you because there are so many of us who have the story behind the story that's actually out there and published to the public. And that's what we want to focus on today. We want to peel back the layers, and we want to have an honest conversation about what's working and what's not working in our professional as well as personal lives, and how it can impact our careers and how it can show up in places where we want to advance and we want to see success. That's why we're going to talk about those three non-negotiables today that you must implement in order to be successful. I have some notes here, so let's go ahead and dive in and let's talk about it. All right, first of all, let's start with what we need to get rid of in 2026. Now, these are two words and concepts. When you hear them, you're going to think, that's not a bad thing. So why are we getting rid of those things? Because honestly, these two things actually sound really good, but let's talk about how they show up and how they negatively or can negatively impact our day-to-day lives. So let's turn here. Let's first talk about this word, motivation. Now, you may say, Catrice, what's wrong with motivation? That's a good thing, right? We have motivational speakers, motivational books, motivational everything, everywhere. Here's the thing. It sounds positive. It's energizing. It sounds like something that makes you get up and move. But here's the truth about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. And when something can come and go, we cannot rely on it to be our source for inspiration, direction, and strategy. So for those of us who are relying on motivation or feeling like we need to be motivated in order to advance our careers, that's going to be problematic. If you work when you feel like it, or you feel you need to be pushed in order to get out there and go after your goals, or if you shut down when you're discouraged, that's a motivation problem. And we need to eliminate motivation from our vocabulary. All right, let's turn to the next word we're getting rid of, and that is hustle. Hustle. For a long time, hustle was a badge of honor. I hustle, I grind, I get it done. And listen, there were seasons in my own life where hustling was the best thing that I could muster up. And those seasons were about survival over strategy. And honestly, I was proud, and I am still proud of the things I accomplished during that time. But let's be honest here, hustling is not a long term strategy. Hustling is just a survival mode instinct, and you cannot survive on survival mode long term. You hustle or survive for a season, but we need something long term in order to build our strategies on. So we need to remove that hustle mentality and that busyness and that survival instinct mentality that so many of us have. And we always need to make sure that we're replacing that. We don't want to always be in a position where we are bracing ourselves for what's coming next, pushing ourselves forward, just trying to stay afloat. That's extremely exhausting, and that can lead to burnout very quickly. So we are going to talk about what we need to transition to in order to enhance our personal lives as well as our careers. So one of the things we need to transition to, and specifically first get away from, is making sure that we are believing in ourselves more in 2026. Let's be honest, a lot of things have happened to cause us to have disbelief. Your disbelief may have come from the job market. It may have come from corporate America. It may have come from being overlooked or feeling undervalued, or perhaps it's even personal relationships that have made you feel as though you're not worthy anymore. We are going to transition away from that, and we're going to find our value in 2026. Because honestly, Black women have been undervalued for so long that I'm concerned that so many of us are starting to actually believe the hype and believe that you're not worth the value and what you want to achieve in life. And so we are going to transition away from that. And I want to make sure we get past the point where too many of us cannot speak power over our existence as well as our future. You feel as though if you don't have a job right now, you lack power. How can I be powerful if I'm unemployed? How can I be powerful if I don't have enough money in my bank account? How can I be powerful if my marriage has failed or if my kids are out of control? We take these real life scenarios and they create negative narratives over our lives. And when you struggle and you project these things and you say these things over yourself, they really do matter. See, how you speak about yourself and how you speak to yourself matters so much because your perception becomes your reality. Excuse me, dry throat. I'm talking so much today. All right, so your perception becomes your reality. So we need to make sure we are actually convincing ourselves, even for those of us who don't believe it. I want you to convince yourself that you have the power to transition and make the changes this year that you want to see happen in your life. And let's be honest, we trick ourselves all the time with negativity. We trick ourselves and we believe insecurities. We rehearse our doubts. We rehearse limitations. So let's start rehearsing some belief in ourselves. Let's start rehearsing power. Let's start rehearsing probability and possibility. See, manifestation is not magic, but these things don't happen overnight. So we're going to take these negative thoughts, transition them out, and then we are going to make sure we are developing positive habits in 2026 that will lead us into the success that we want and that we deserve. So let's talk about the 3 non-negotiables that we need to focus on in 2026 to help us reset our future, repurpose our present, and make sure we are getting the success that we deserve this year. Number 1, it is understanding that rest is not a reward. It is a requirement. Black women are emotionally and physically tired. Now, make no mistake, we are not weak, we are not incapable, we're not ungrateful, but we are tired. We are tired from carrying families, overperforming at work, code switching when need be in situations related to professional settings, being the strong one all the time, navigating discriminatory situations, both professionally and even in our personal lives as of late. And we have to deal with all these different things. And for generations, we've been taught that exhaustion equals strength, meaning in order to be strong, you must have been exhausted first, or there needs to be some level of tiredness, exhaustion in order to wear that badge of honor of being strong. But here's the truth: being exhausted and being tired is not a sign of strength. And I'm going to tell you a very personal story of my own life and how this has really resonated with me as well. So, for the longest time, I have had a really difficult time with the concept of resting. This includes just taking naps during the day, taking time off from work when need be. And for the longest time, when my kids were younger, I blamed it on the kids. I said, well, I can't just take a nap during the day. I have to, be a mom. I have to manage my household, all the things. Well, now I don't have the kids in the household. What's the problem? Right? I still struggle with this. On the work front, because I work primarily from home, I tell myself all the time, do you really need to take an extra day off? You're already at home and you have the good fortune of having this great employment set up. Do you need the extra time off? I struggle with that. And honestly, that is something that I'm working on very diligently, because we need to understand. That's why I said I'm work in progress right along with you guys. We need to understand that without getting rest will come exhaustion. And with exhaustion, that will lead to being unable to perform at work long term, actually health issues, including hypertension, anxiety, burnout, loss of creativity, reduction in confidence, as well as poor decision making. So we need to make sure we are getting the rest that we need in our lives. And rest will allow us to think clearly. It will help us gain emotional regulation, as well as improve our communication and our leadership. So the first thing we need to have as a non-negotiable is understanding that rest is a top priority. So how are we going to get that rest? What moves are we going to make in our lives to achieve that rest and find that in order to implement it? So one thing we're going to do is we're actually going to schedule rest. Now, I know that sounds crazy to actually schedule rest, but yes, we are actually going to start to schedule rest in our lives and making sure that we are holding ourselves accountable for getting the rest that we deserve and that we need. Now, rest doesn't always have to look like sleeping. People think of rest and they think of like actually going to sleep all the time. Rest can also just be resting your mind, taking a step away from the grind, the day-to-day things that you're toiling at work, and just stepping away from it all and totally relaxing your mind. And actually, I was listening to a podcast, Emma McGrady, or Grady, I believe is her name. I apologize for mixing that up, but her podcast is called Aspire. And in that podcast, she said something really very, very important. She said the statistic reads that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. 42% more likely to achieve them. So one thing that we can do in the area of rest is actual reflection, taking a pause and actually reflecting on our lives, on our goals, on our frustrations, and taking pen to paper and actually writing it down. Because what writing does is, as this statistic shows, writing increases clarity And with that clarity will come commitment. So the more you write down, it will increase that ability. So journaling is so important in your life as far as the area of rest, relaxation, and refocusing. And I have created here our power moves for how we are going to navigate rest and incorporate this in our life. We are going to actually start journaling. Now, I know many of you are saying, Catrice, I don't have time to do the things I'm doing now, much less write in a journal. But I tell you, this literally takes less than 15 minutes. And you don't have to journal every single day. You can journal as frequently as it works for you. My recommendation would be to actually start journaling on a weekly basis. And to help with that, let me grab this here. I am gifting everyone who attends this live, who registers and attends the live event, I am gifting you this journal that is branded on our theme for this month of Black Women Empowerment. And in that journal, you are going to start on a weekly basis writing down this prompt here. Number one, what are 3 things you are grateful for? You will be so surprised how much gratitude can enhance your life. You're going to start by saying, what am I grateful for? No matter what is breaking out around me, no matter what problems are going on in my life, at work or at home, what are 3 things I can say I am truly grateful for this week? Next, we're going to write the 3 things that we are going to release. Now, with the release, these are things that are concerning us, worrying us, that we are going to put pen to paper, put them on that paper, and we're going to say, moving into the next week, I am not going to obsess over these things. I am going to release them, and I am going to move forward and work on the things that I can control. Then our last thing we're going to write is going to be 3 goals that we are going to commit to achieving this week coming forward. Now, those 3 goals, and by writing those 3 goals, you are going to make sure that you are setting a promise to yourself. Just as hard as it should be for you to be able to break promises to other people, it should be equally hard for you to break promises to yourself. So when you go about your week and you start your week by identifying 3 things that you are committing to accomplishing this week, you are making a commitment to yourself that you are going to achieve those things. So simple. 3 simple things out of each category. And what you're going to find as you continue to do this on a weekly basis, number one, you're going to be incredibly proud when you look back and you see that you actually achieved the goals that you set for yourself for that week. And you're going to start to slowly find that when you look back over time, those 3 things that you put for the release category that were just stressing you out so much that you had no control over and that were just overwhelming you, you'll find in the weeks coming forward, they're going to also diminish. And you're going to find that they no longer have that hold over you. But without the journal, you don't have a visual record of that. So that's why journaling is so important. So number 1 in our non-negotiable category is scheduling rest, getting rest, and journaling in order to improve reflection. All right, let's move to our second non-negotiable, and that is going to be setting boundaries. Boundaries are protection, not punishment. We feel, I think, so often that when we set boundaries, we are slighting the person on the other side of the boundary. Like we're doing them a disservice or doing them wrong, hence the punishment in the title. Because really, Black women were raised to be helpful, to be dependable, to be strong, and also to be available to everybody and available at your own detriment quite often. But success without boundaries actually becomes exploitation. Now, I'm not implying the person on the other end, on the receiving end of the service, is exploiting you. Because honestly, you're exploiting yourself because you're the one who's making the commitment to do whatever the thing is. So we want to make sure we're alleviating that, because without boundaries, we're taking on extra work that we really cannot afford to do. We don't have the time to do. We're saying yes when we mean no, and we're becoming an emotional support where we really don't have the bandwidth. And the crazy thing is, we do this and we actually get upset about why we are committed to these things. And as we're doing them not from a pure heart or from a pure mindset, because we really don't want to do them in the first place. So, boundaries are not selfish, they are structural. They protect your mental health, they protect your time, they protect your earning potential long term, and they also protect your peace. So, in the category of boundary setting, and ironically, quick antidote, one thing I love about my oldest son, for forever, for as long as I can remember with him, whenever you would ask him something that he did not want to do, he was very great about saying, no, I can't do that, or no, I can't commit to that, period. And it was never like, well, no, and I'm sorry, but here's the reason why, and all this drawn out explanation. And I respect that so much about him. Even as a young man and as a young kid, he was always so much on point with that. And we can learn a lot from our children, to be honest. That's something we need to implement, because quite often what we do is we end up starting off saying no. But by the time we give our reasonings why, we end up talking ourselves into actually saying yes. So we're going to have boundaries moving forward in 2026. And here are our power moves in this category. We are going to identify one place where you are overperforming and overextending yourself. This could be in your personal life, it could be in your professional life. We're going to identify this, and then I want you to create a one sentence response to eliminate this area or this thing in your life. Now, you don't have to do this tomorrow. This is something that ideally I would love to see you implement before the end of this month. So if you can start thinking about this and say, where is this one area that I can or I should stop overextending myself and remove that, that is going to greatly improve the quality of your life, and it is going to improve your ability to get more done in the areas that actually do matter. We're going to start with this one exercise for 1 month, and then I want you to continue that and grow and see what else or where else can I eliminate areas where I am overperforming and overextending myself. And then what I want you to do, once we eliminate these things, you're going to find you have room and the bandwidth to pick up the things you actually enjoy or want to do that will empower you and advance your career as well as your personal goals. So that is going to be non-negotiable number 2. Boundaries are not protection. They are protection, not punishment. We're going to implement our boundaries. All right, let's move to non-negotiable number 3. You are going to invest in yourself like you invest in everyone else. This is a big one for Black women, especially our mothers out there. I'm sure so many of you moms can relate to this. We will say we don't have the finances, the money to do whatever the thing is for ourselves. We'll say, I would really love to do this one thing for myself, but I just can't afford that at this time. 2 days later, the kids come through and they need $200 for the event at school, or they need $500 for this, or they need whatever. I guarantee all the good moms out there, we're going to find the money. And we're going to find the money not because some source of money just opened up because the kids walked in the door, but because our mindset and our thought process opened when those kids walked in the door. Because for everybody else, we can invest in ourselves in them so freely, but we struggle when we are investing in ourselves. I'll tell you a quick anecdote from my personal life in this category as well. Recently, my grandson, my beautiful grandson Carter, is going to be turning 1 this month. I saw that Disney on Ice is performing here at the United Center in Chicago. Instantly, I bought tickets without a thought, without a budget concern, with anything. I know he loves Mickey Mouse. I bought the tickets. Doesn't stop there though. Not only did I buy the tickets, I bought the VIP ticket because, of course, he has to meet Mickey Mouse. Because what's the point in going, right? Without meeting Mickey Mouse. So I bought the VIP seating, the VIP ticket for a 1-year-old to meet a man in a mouse costume like that. Fast forward. My queen, my icon, my musical muse and genius, Mary J. Blige, announces that she is doing a residency at the Las Vegas, one of the Las Vegas hotels and venues. I instantly want to go. Do I book that ticket with the same fever and instant access and speed that I did the Mickey Mouse? Of course not. I had to pull out my budget. Can I really afford this ticket? Can I really afford to go to Vegas this summer? Then I pull out my work schedule. Can I afford the time off from work? And it's all these discussions and conversations in my mind where when we were talking about going to Mickey Mouse, it was nothing. It was just do it. Now, I'm not implying that you can just hop on a plane and go to Las Vegas without any thought, but what I'm showing you is a comparison. When it was about someone I love, instantly, how do we make this work? How do we make it happen? Let's get it done. When it was about me, it's the should I even get it done? Can it be done? Should I even try? Now, needless to say, I'm incredibly proud. I'll be in Vegas this summer at the Mary J. Blige residency, but this truly is a lesson to me, and it's work in progress with me. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that, and that resonates with you. So I want you to start investing in yourself. Stop saying, I'll do it later. It's too expensive. Now isn't the right time. I'll figure it out. You need to invest in the improvement of yourself and the happiness of your life and the quality of your life. So how does those investments, or where do those investments actually show up? We're talking about coaching. We're talking about skill development, therapy, health and wellness, professional development, personal branding, leadership training, financial literacy. These are all things that you should be investing in yourself. I guarantee the most successful people you know in your personal life, as well as the celebrities that we see and the famous people in the world, they are investing in themselves in this manner. Now, you may say, well, of course, they can do it. They have tons of resources. True, very true. But what you do is you scale your investment. So you may not be able to make a $10,000 investment in, let's say, health and wellness, but you can afford a $49 membership to the gym. Okay? You can afford to go to therapy if you have health insurance, or even without health insurance, it's so many med spas around now. You can pay cash payments like $100 to go seek therapy. These are all things you need to start investing in yourself and finding the resources to enhance yourself and do things for yourself. And also making sure that this becomes a non-negotiable, because this is about not just getting the tickets to the concert or the new thing or the thing that you desire. It's about making yourself a priority and about building yourself up and enhancing yourself. So, what's our power move here? Our power move for this non-negotiable is going to be to choose one investment that you are going to commit to for the month of March. So I'm giving you 2 weeks to think about it. I'm giving you 2 weeks to get your money together and get your situation in order. But I want you to be able to say, this month in March, I committed to doing X for myself. Fill in the blank. And that can be anything from, like I said, coaching, health and wellness, to purchasing something for yourself you wanted for a long time. Now is the time to move forward and do that. So I want you all to make that commitment and find something. Now, here's the great thing. You scale the price. You scale the investment. It could be something that costs $50, literally, or something that you wanted to, investment level $5,000. You know your finances. You know what you can afford. So don't let the money stop you from making the investment in yourself, because this is something that you absolutely must do to enhance yourself. And it truly is a non-negotiable. All right, let's recap, guys. Let's talk about our final call to action. What are we going to do? What are we going to do moving out of this live event? What is our call to action for our non-negotiables? Number one, our 3 power moves. For each non-negotiable, I've identified an easily done power move that you can implement, some starting today and some actually starting over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to make sure that I publish those and drop those on my LinkedIn profile to make sure we're sharing those. So we are going to implement those power moves. We are also going to schedule rest starting this week. We are going to carve out time where we are resting, where we are reinventing and making sure we are getting that time of reflection and rest in our lives. And remember, rest does not always equal sleep. Rest can be something as small as pausing, meditating, reflecting, journaling. We are going to rest more, and we're going to actually schedule it like we schedule everything else in our lives. And then lastly, I want you to make sure you are stating one positive affirmation over yourself and your life each day. What does that mean? Something as simple as saying, you look amazing today. If you're looking in the mirror, you look beautiful today. Or saying, I'm proud of myself. I got this report done at work. I'm proud of myself that I made it to the gym today. I want you to actually say this to yourself. I want you to say it out loud and hear yourself saying it, because I want it to resonate with your spirit and with your mind that you are achieving your goals and just how truly powerful you are and the capabilities that you have to be successful in 2026. I'm going to check in and make sure you guys are doing this. And I'm also going to show you how I'm living and practicing what I preach. I'm going to do these things too. All right, guys, let's now talk about the free gift that I have for you all. I posted this online to show you guys, but I also want to make sure everyone sees it if they didn't see the post. For everybody who registers for my live events for this month, my 2 live events, this one and next week, you will receive an actual swag bag from me, a Black woman swag bag. Let's start with the bag itself. Here is the bag. It is a reusable bag that you can use for many different things. It has the logo Black Women Power on it. This is the actual bag that we have, speaking to the point and the pillar of power that we spoke about in this live event. All right, next we have an actual mirror to reflect visibility and the importance of visibility in our careers and in our lives, in our personal branding. So we have this mirror here, still on theme with the Black Women Power logo. Flip the mirror, very cute, very compact, Very thin, can slide it into your purse, your pocket, anything. Very functional, very helpful, right? But also very symbolic for the idea of visibility. And I already showed you guys the journal, the wonderful journal that I've created for everyone who attends the live event. And this will be for you to actually use for the power moves we talked about. And then lastly, just little positive affirmation keychain I'm going to include in there as well. So be on the lookout for a DM from me because I'm going to be looking for your preferred mailing address to send you your swag bag just to show you, number one, how much I appreciate you for joining this live event, how much I appreciate you guys for following me and engaging with me here on LinkedIn, and also just to show you how committed I am to the theme of positivity and uplifting Black women. Thank you guys so much. Have an awesome, awesome day. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.